So Salamence is a dragon flying pseudo legendary, and out of all of them, in my opinion, he has the best abilities in Intimidate and Moxie. Intimidate lowers all your opponent's attack by one stage, and Moxie raises your attack if you KO an opponent. So both have their uses. Moxie is really good if you just want to become a sweeper, and Intimidate's good for disruption and lower their attack. But his stats are 95 health, 80 defenses, so he's kind of bulky. Like, he can survive a hit. He can't, like, ice would pretty much one-shot him, but he can survive some neutral and some super effective hits that aren't 4 times. He has 135 attack, 110 special attack, so he can be a mixed attacker because he has pretty good special attack and really good attack. And 100 speed, so he's fast. Like, he's on the faster end, but he's not the fastest thing. But being dragon flying means that he's weak to rock, dragon, and ice, or rock, dragon, and fairy with a 4 times weakness to ice. But since he's flying, he's immune to ground, but he also resists fighting, bug, fire, water, and a 4 times the grass. So it's pretty good overall. He actually has the same typing as Dragonite too, so it's pretty good. But one way to use Salamence is to make full use of his Moxie and Dragon Dance with a focus sash, so you're guaranteed to survival, and just Dragon Claw, dual wing beat, and a coverage move, and go from there. Well, in the last move, instead of Crunch, instead of Earthquake, it's just a coverage move, so you can run Crunch, Rock Slide. If you want, you can run like a Flamethrower or something. Since you're sashed anyway, you can lower one of your defenses with the nature and run like a Flamethrower or a Heat Wave, just a big move for things that are steel, pretty much, for steel types. Or you can run like I guess he doesn't learn Surf, but Rock Slide, something for coverage, Stone Edge if you want to play that accuracy game. But pretty much the plan is, you could also run a Speedy Nature though. I would recommend a Speedy Nature because you're getting the Moxie boost anyway. But the plan is you Dragon Dance, and then you take out whatever's in front of you. Dual Wing is really good too because if it hits, it breaks 2 sashes since it hits twice. But pretty much you want to just KO something. You want to Dragon Dance, take a hit, and then KO them, so you'll have a +2 attack, +1 speed, and pretty much from there, just one shot. Just take everything out, and you'll get each time you get a KO, you get a Moxie boost. So every time you KO, your attack will get higher and higher, and as long as you don't get outsped, you pretty much will just one-shot everything. If not, Dual Wing Beat takes care of sashes and sturdy, and like Mimic You, for example, things like that. Dual Wing Beat will mess them up. But another way is Intimidate, Dynamax Salamence, but Dual Wing Beat, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and then either in this last spot. Also, the nature is up to you on this one. If you want more speed, you can put it in the speed. If you want more attack, you can put it in attack. But I mean, it's up to you. Also, the ability is fully up to you with Intimidate or Moxie. And Dynamax, it just depends. If you're gonna bring them in and try to finish off a lot of low health opponents, then I would run Speed and Moxie, just so you can just steamroll them. If not, Intimidate, Adamant, just what you want. Life Orb, and pretty much Dual Wing Beat raises your speed, Dragon Claw raises your attack, or Dragon Claw lowers their attack, Earthquake raises your defense. And again, I like having that Fire Blast as that special coverage. So if you run against a physical wall, especially Dynamax too, if you run against that physical wall or something like a Ferrothorn, you can pretty much destroy. Corviknight, again, steel types for the most part, you pretty much can get them out the way. But if you want to run full physical, then you can run something like I would run Iron Tail for anti-fairy. Again, you can run Iron Tail instead of Earthquake if you're worried about fairies. Stone Edge, but you have to be careful of the Sandstorm effect. Aqua Tail is really good for coverage. And Crunch or Zen Headbutt. If you don't want priority, Zen Headbutt's really good because of the psychic terrain. But I would say, actually, it depends, actually, the nature. Because if you want to come in on something you're slower than and Dynamax into Dual Wing Beat, which actually has 130 base power, you can get away with not running a Speedy Nature. But if you want that more reliability of outspeeding, then I would run a Speedy Nature. And again, Intimidate or Moxie, just depends on what you want in that situation. But this is a double Salamence with Intimidate, lower both of the opponent's attack, and then Dragon Claw, Dual Wing Beat. And especially if you can get him next to a Levitate or Flying type, Earthquake and Rock Slide's pretty good coverage because they hit both opponents, and with your attack being so high that it'll do a good amount of damage, especially if your ally is also doing something, or an ally with Telepathy too for Earthquake. But especially if your ally is also doing damage, or your ally is doing double hitting moves like Heat Wave, or maybe they're using an Earthquake or Rock Slide, you can do things with it. I like the Lumberry or Citrus Berry, but I like the Lumberry in case you run against something that has a Will-O-Wisp or something like that, along those lines, or Paralysis, something that tries to shut you down. You can get away with Lumberry, but pretty much you come in and you just do damage in doubles. Dragon Claw, Also, you can replace one of these moves too. Again, if you want that just special coverage with Heat Wave, because that hits both opponents in doubles. So you can do something like that with the Heat Wave. I wouldn't really use Hyper Voice though. It's not really worth it in this situation. But another way is Scarf Moxie. To take full advantage of Moxie, just Scarf Moxie Adamant. You come in, you either Outrage. This is pretty much high risk, high reward. You come out, you Outrage. You're stuck in Outrage, but you're going to do a ton of damage, especially once you get 1 or 2 Moxie boost, and then you get 1 or 2 Moxie boost, and you just Outrage everything down, especially if you know they don't have anything that resists Outrage at the end of the battle. But you have to be careful of the 2 to 3 turns because of the confusion. Earthquake's also really good, just to outspeed and do a ton of damage. Stone Edge, high damage but low accuracy. You could also run Rock Slide because it has a chance to flinch. Aqua Tail's good in that last spot, but he has coverage. Crunch is an option. And this one I wouldn't really recommend running a fire move or a special move in this case, just because that can screw you over a little bit, especially if they switch in a special wall or something like that. If you don't want to run Outrage, you can run Dragon Claw too, just for you don't have to worry about it, especially once you get built up, or if they're all low, you come in with this and you pretty much just KO everything. Facade's also an option if you're worried about getting burned and just getting completely shut down. Facade's an option. I think he learns. Oh, he doesn't learn Iron Head. I would be really careful though about I wouldn't run Iron Tail or anything under 80 accuracy, because if you miss, you could get yourself in trouble and miss like 2 or 3 in a row, and pretty much be useless. But the plan with this is just outspeed and UKO, especially at the end of the battle, and finish them off. But some of the other moves he learns: Hurricane and a Rain team. I don't think he learns Thunder though, which yeah, he doesn't learn Thunder. So, but you have Hurricane in case you do something in the rain. Heat Wave hits both opponents in doubles. It has more power than Flamethrower, but slightly less accuracy. Then Headbutt's good psychic coverage, plus Psychic Terrain's really good if you have low health. Dragon Rush, high power, low accuracy, but you're not stuck into it like Outrage, so you have some options. And some of the other moves he learns: Fly. I would never use Fly now that Dual Wing Beat's in the game. It's not worth it. Fly also has 95 accuracy, which, is that new? I think that's new actually, that they just lowered its accuracy. I'm not gonna. I guess it always has it. I don't know. I'm not looking into that right now. Headbutt. No, not use Headbutt. Flamethrower he learns naturally. Double Edge, just high damage base power move. Steel Wing's also a anti-fairy move, but 70 power is kind of low considering the other moves you can run in that spot. Brick Break's always an option, especially Dynamax to raise your attack if you want that. Shadow Claw is good coverage, but with Crunch, I would run Crunch over Shadow Claw. He has the Fang. He has Thunder and Fire Fang. They have really low base power. I wish they would buff those, so I wouldn't really use those. Air Slash on a special Salamence. Unless you're Dynamax. If you're Dynamax during rain, Hurricane's way better on way better on him than Air Slash. Body Slam's decent, 85, 100 base power. He also has Fire Blast and Hydro Pump. So if you want to run special Salamence, he has pretty good special moves. Endure. If you want to do an Endure, Salic Barrier, or something along those lines, you could. But with Dragon Dance, I don't really like doing that, because Dragon Dance is pretty much better because it gives you both stats, especially with a Sash. But Iron Defense, I would pretty much never use Iron Defense on Salamence because his stats are so low. His defense is so low. Hyper Voice on a special set would be pretty good. But like if you're gonna run a special Salamence, you could run something like, especially Dynamax, something like Hurricane, Heat Wave, Dragon Pulse, and then probably Air Slash. If you're Dynamaxing though, you can also take out one of these moves for something like a Hydro Pump, or I would run Fire Blast instead of that if you're running Dynamax. But Hyper Voice is also an option if you're just running a regular one. So Salamence has some options and some diversity of what you're going to see with him, but that's how you use Salamence in Pokemon Sword and Shield.